Yes, people, good morning. What's going on? Welcome back to United View. This is the live, yeah, and it's live, yeah. This is the match preview for our game tonight against Wolves. It is match day. It is time to hopefully collect another 3 points. That is what we need to get. That is what we should get. That is what we will get. That is what we will get.
Yeah, I was going to say, Flex, a bit of confidence. We're playing Wolves again. Worst team, not only in the league, but arguably Premier League history, right? There's already rumours and rumblings that Robert, he might be on his way out, Flex. Don't know if you saw that one.
I haven't seen that, no.
Because he's just lost every game. You know what I mean? And they're bad. I mean, we saw them, and it's quite interesting, actually, isn't it, when it comes to Wolves? Because obviously, I know going into the game away at Molineux, you were sort of saying like they're bad, but they're not.
They give you a game.
They give you a game, and they have given quite a few people a game. Which is still true. Yeah, exactly. True. When they played Arsenal, gave them a game. Aston Villa, they gave them a game. They always lose, but they will give you a game, and it's the same for us, isn't it? This evening, right? Manchester United, we don't really do things straightforward. Certainly, team news is not very well. I suppose it is straightforward in the sense of the team kind of picks itself because we've got nobody available, but it's not straightforward in terms of we've got lots of absences. So, and it's not straightforward because we don't really know what formation Ruben Amorim is going to play as well.
No, we probably don't. Like Tavares says there, big up to you, bro, says we're so depleted. We are. So I think we have an idea of what the team will look like, though, in terms of players that are available, unless he mixes it up. And I think actually for this game, there's not really much need to differentiate from what we just did, really. What we just put out. Like we forget that first half, apart from Mason Mount, obviously, we're like, you don't know. Like, there's no point. What's he going to do? Change to a back three for this game? Can't see that. I think the whole point of doing this for this period was that's how we're going to play. We played very well in the first half. We had to adjust in the second half, but the shape was still kind of the same. We just had to suffer a bit. So I just think you pretty much, me personally, if Mason Mount's all right, which we don't know, if he is, I'd keep him where he is. If he's not, where did he play? He played in the 10 to start off with, isn't it? But if he's not, you might have a little rejig depending on what's there. Does Jack Fletcher just come in for him?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because you would think as well, given the opposition and you're at home, if you ever were going to start again one of the youngsters and sort of give them a go, it probably would be this game.
Sheer Lacey in the 10 or something.
Yeah. I still don't think he'd probably do that. The way it is different from obviously the Newcastle game is there is a level of respect that went to Newcastle certainly in the second half, wasn't there? Of like, look, we've got a 1-0 lead. We've got these players missing. Even though Newcastle aren't what they were last season, they've still got very good players. They can bring players on. Amorim sat behind the ball for the entire second half, basically. Yeah. Against Wolves, you shouldn't be doing the whole half. You shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? You should be. It shouldn't be 1-0 shop against Wolves at home.
No,
they're bottom of the league. It should be still go on, still push forward. Whether we've got the players to do that, from an attacking sense, we're limited. Patrick Dorgu's having to score wonder goals for us to get over the line. So that's going to be a bit challenging. But this is where you look at, your Benjamin Šeško going right at home, worst team in the league.
Feast. Go and eat, man.
Go get your goals. Mateus Cunha, who has been playing well last few games. We asked him to step up, and he has. He was saying, all right, carry on with that. And like I said, whether or not Mason Mount's available, time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. Will Joshua Zirkzee play one final game? Will it be a last hurrah for him? He was pretty crap against Newcastle, to be fair. When he came, and then when the reports come out saying that he's already agreed personal terms with Roma, you go, I kind of see it in that game.
It was reflected.
So I don't know. But by all accounts, he's not going to go until AFCON's over. So we'll see with that one. But ultimately, and I think the Newcastle game kind of proved my point with this one, Flex. It's just about winning, isn't it? I mean, already a few days after the fact, are we talking about how we won that much? Are we talking about, it was second half, it was terrible. And I was also nervous. No, you just remember that we won. You remember that we won the game, and that was important. And shocker of all shockers too, Flex, which we've been preaching for, it feels like a year at this point, certainly the entirety of Ruben Amorim's reign, is that if you win games and you go higher up in the table, that pressure suddenly goes. Then it goes, because when you
do what you want.
I know, obviously, like there have been results since then, so we went down because we were up to 5th, weren't we? But we're 6th in the league at the moment. 6th in the league, level on points with 5th. When people will be negative about Ruben Amorim, and they still will, the easiest pushback is just look at the table, mate. Look at the table.
Yeah, you're doing
all right. Doing okay, and that is also why when we had those games against Villa, and I mentioned after that, there was a lot of outrage, wasn't there? There was a lot of real anger. This is why Ruben needs to go. This is blah 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 blah. And I mentioned it after the game. Well, I'm not going to sit here and flail my arms and be angry because it's performative at this point. Because you go and win your next game, and you go up the table, and that's what we did. You know what I mean?
That's what we did.
So that's why you sort of do the whole like, Ineos are going to do that. Why are they not getting rid of Amorim? And you sort of go, well, because they're not going to be phased if you lose a game, because they'll look at the table and go, we're fine. We're fine. You know what I mean? If you lose tonight against Wolves, you go, well, bloody hell, what's going on here?
It all changes. But even that, though, it's like what I've learned is that doesn't mean, obviously, there's going to be some catastrophes.
Yeah.
Then you go win against Leeds, and it's like about par, but it's unforgivable losing to that Wolves team. No one's lost to them, so it would be the most embarrassing thing ever. Like it was the most embarrassing thing ever to lose to Grimsby. Like, how did that happen? It means everything's over. It means just Control Alt Delete this. If you can't beat Grimsby, the whole season's a write off. And I was there. That's where I was at.
But you learned your lesson.
You learned my lesson.
And that's the key thing in it, is because I think there is this sort of cyclical element of it, of just sort of lose, outrage, go to the next week, win, lose, outrage. And you sort of go, well, eventually you have to kind of learn that outrage bit's kind of redundant, isn't it? That's the conclusion that I came to. I remember when we were playing, that was the Wolves game. The Wolves away. I went mental at halftime, and I was like, right, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again, because we won the game 4-1. Then you look at the table afterwards, and you sort of go, it's going to be us this season, isn't it? This is going to be us this season. As we say before every game, emotional roller coaster, and ultimately a lot of people's future, players, coach, etc. It's going to be determined at the end of the season, isn't it? It's not going to be week to week. Ineos are not going to sack Ruben Amorim based off, a result that happens in the middle of the season. They'll do it at the end, depending on where we are in the league. If we're in European football, then he'll keep his job, and he'll deserve to keep his job. If he doesn't, then he'll probably end up getting the sack. If the season ended today, he'd be in a very good position, wouldn't he? And you go, well, tell you what, it's improvement from last year. So, yeah. So I think as far as tonight goes, I would hope it's not filled with too many emotional roller coasters, but we have our moments, don't we? We have our moments.
We do. We have our moments. And I just think that tonight's game, I'll be honest, I don't think will be as easy as it was when we played them at Molineux, ironically.
You think so?
I do think. Yeah, I do. I'll tell you why. I think we're going to win, by the way. I think we're going to win the game. But I don't think we'll win by scoring 4 goals and, essentially being out of sight like that. I just look at the way Wolves have been playing away from home. And I think they fancied themselves a little bit against us because it actually is us. And we're a little bit fragile and stuff. I think they opened up. They tried to, probably played it a different way. Probably wasn't as compact as maybe they should have been versus the respect they give to Aston Villa away, Arsenal away. Some of the games they've been playing, which in turn maybe, low block the whole game, make it more difficult for that team to break you down. So I just think, and then of that with the players missing with the, it's not as free flowing as we maybe would have liked. Maybe it might not transpire into 3s and 4s, easy night. I just think we'll get the job done. I just don't think it'll be by a 3-goal margin. But I honestly, like you say, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. Like if this is like, fucking hell, man. Because this is what will happen. If we don't win this comfortably, like we did the first one, some people would go, honestly, like we have to wait to the 80th minute to beat them 1-0. Like, if you've got faith in that going forward, it just shows you this manager is just not good enough. Like it'll be that sort of thing, even though we've won. Because even after we beat Newcastle, you know, we all scratched our heads at the subs during the game. We were like, "Fucking, I'm not sure about this," but people, even though it paid off, people still took it as, "Listen, I ain't falling for that. That is, he needs to leave immediately." That just proves even more why he needs to leave immediately, because of what he did to us in the second half. When the game just went that way, and he made those decisions that ended up working. It wasn't just great to watch, but you know, you also have to think of the team that we are.
I think you do make a really good point, actually, about Wolves being away from home being strong, because I just look at their last few away games in the Premier League, right? Their last 3 away games in the Prem. Aston Villa, right? They lost 1-0, but like you said, that was a tight game. That was a very tight game. I remember Emi Martinez made some big saves, and they're a bit unfortunate. Next away game, Arsenal at the Emirates. We know how that one went. It was very, very tight. Lost 2-1.
Should have got a draw.
Yeah, should have got a draw, so got something out of the game. Didn't. Next away game, Liverpool at Anfield the weekend. It was 2-1. I actually watched the game. It was pretty tight, actually. It was pretty tight, pretty edgy stuff. And they did well in the second half in particular. So it just goes to show that, like you said, on the face of it, a team that's finished, you know, that's bottom of the league, they're going to get relegated. Worst Premier League team in history. But actually, in these last 3 away games, which have been brutal away games, right? You get Aston Villa, the most informed team in the Prem, pretty much at the moment. Arsenal, the leaders of the league, expected maybe to go on and win it. Very good at the Emirates. And then Liverpool, even though they're not playing as well this season, Anfield's still a big ass. They're still the champions. And they've actually done all right. They've actually done okay. They've lost the ball, which they would have been expected to lose the ball.
Because they've lost every game, pretty much.
But actually, they've not done too bad. So to your point, if tonight we win 1-0 or something like that, it actually really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Do you think that those teams there, 2 of them are in a title race, Arsenal, Aston Villa, do you think they care that they beat Wolves by 1 goal at home?
Don't care.
No. They would. Do you think Aston Villa at the moment are going, oh yeah, but that big run of wins that we were on, it was only 1-0 against Wolves. They don't give a shit. They won't care. Arsenal, you think you ask the Arsenal fans, yeah, but that Wolves game, it was 2-1. They'll go, I don't give a shit. We're top of the league. You know what I mean? We need to win. We need to win. So I think you're right. I think tonight, I don't think it's going to be this, like, you know, a repeat of what happened at Molineux, where it's like 4-1. You go, bloody hell, look at us go. Blah. I think they're better off playing away from home, because they can literally just camp, get behind the ball, do their thing. And obviously, we've got a lot of players missing, so that is going to be challenging for us. It is. So as long as it's a win, I don't care. This is one of those sort of banana skin games, isn't it? Where you just go, you know, you can't really win in this game. You know what I mean? You win 1-0 and it's, well, you only won 1-0 against Wolves. You win 4-0. Well, you should win 4-0 against Wolves. You draw. I can't believe you drew against Wolves. You lost. You gave Wolves the first loss of the season. It's a no-win scenario. So you just get out of there, 3 points, move on to the next one, and focus on putting some wins together, getting up the league even more, because we know we'll drop off at some point again, because that's what we do. So we need to make sure that when, like you've said this before, haven't you, that we need to get to a stage where inevitably when we do lose a game, we don't yo-yo up and down the league so much, you know, because we've gone from like 7th or 8th to now like 5th, you know, in the next couple of just by winning a game. And actually our form has been a bit inconsistent, hasn't it? In terms of,
it has,
you know,
look very inconsistent.
Draw, win, draw, loss, win. That's very inconsistent form, but that, because of this season, that can get you into 6th.
What I was looking at though, and 6th, listen, that's, yeah, obviously that'll get us Europa League. I was thinking about how we'd feel if we got Europa League this year, and like what the outrage would, and the feeling, and how bad it would be if we only got Europa League. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I was looking at the league. You know, when you just sort of formulating what's going on, it's starting to take shape a little bit in that, say, top 6, which it can easily change.
Yeah.
And you start to look at it and you go, well, you leave Arsenal, Man City, right? And we need to get in the top 5. Villa are on a crazy run at the moment. You know, we really need them to lose to Arsenal, really start dragging them back into this type of race. You know, Liverpool, all right, cool, they're only 3 points above us, but you want to avoid going ban for Liverpool for Europe. You know what I mean? Because they're going to get
credit to Arne Slot, because he has turned it around, hasn't he?
He has
properly turned it around. Like I said, they're back up into fourth. You know what I mean?
This is, and I see their guys post like our worst ever start, our worst ever, above all of you lot. Or you can flip it as a narrative if you like, we're 3 points behind the Premier League champions. What happened to you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but listen, narratives and narratives. And I hear that Z Gold says Liverpool aren't good, Flex. I've been watching them. And I'm not saying all these teams need to be good. Look at us. People can say I've been watching United. It's not about being good. It's about who do you bet to just be more consistent and find ways to win.
Z Gold says turn it around, Owen. They're playing shit, Owen. But it's not about performance. We have established for us, it's not even necessarily about performance. They're unbeaten in their last 5, 3 wins in a row, When we had that, we were like, bloody hell, we're playing well. You know what I mean? It's about results. This is a results-based business. This isn't a playing well business. This is a results-based business, Because those people earlier on this season that we were praising, you know what I mean? Oliver Glasner, Andoni Iraola, etc. Look, they're all struggling now. Why? Because they're not getting results. Andoni Iraola's got Bournemouth now in 15th. This is a guy that we were willing to swap for Ruben Amorim earlier on this season. You know what I mean? And why suddenly is stock going down? It's results. Results.
It's that simple. Results.
The fans still aren't happy. Well, obviously, because they won the league last season. Yeah, and
exactly. Listen, all of that is out of like in the context of the thing, mate. They were losing every fucking week, and now they're not, and they haven't lost in that. It's stabilizing, and where they are in the league, the league is probably going to be past them. But some of them are even still saying, if we win all the games up until Arsenal, then beat Arsenal, and they get a little draw before we play them, maybe we're back in it. But it was a funny old game. Jason says, I don't think this game will be as easy as some people might think. That's what we were discussing, Jason. Thanks for the super chat. 100%. I just don't think we will. But back to what I was saying about the league table. It's just, you are going up against, Chelsea, you're looking at them in this present moment. They're getting cussed out. And you're like, look at them, it's that and the other. We're on the same points.
Yeah,
we're on the same points. Yeah. Their form's worse than us. So what I'm saying is that, we have to just keep pace with the Chelsea, Liverpool / Aston Villa. You just got to keep pace, and hopefully, we can start to pull away from the rest of the group and just worry about getting in that top 6. But, we've got a good opportunity in the next 3 games in a row to get 9 points. Leeds, yes, I take into consideration it's always more tough for us to go to Leeds than any other team, really, because of the rivalry. So you've got to take that.
And they're playing better.
Ellen Road, and they're playing better now. Calvert-Lewin's in good form. Farker's managed to turn it around a little bit. They're getting good results. They're moving clear of the relegation zone. So they're very confident right now.
And lost in the last 5, 2 wins, 3 draws.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So the game after this is no guarantee, even though they're a newly promoted team, and that's it's Leeds. It's a derby game. It's a rival game. Then after that, Burnley away should be winning. But again, there's no easy games in the Prem, right? All this is whilst we've got this team that we've got as well, which looks quite confident in some areas, but in other areas, slightly less. So just get the job done today, man. Do you know what I'm saying? We saw what Ruben was saying, didn't we? About the players that are basically still out.
He said, I don't know if Mason Mount's going to be if he's going to be for the game. He said Kobbie, Bruno, Ligt, Harry Maguire will not be ready either. So I think we're not going to have any more players, which is an interesting one with Kobbie, isn't it? Again, because he's out he'll only be out for maybe 1 game, 2 games, and that game's now spilling over into a 3rd game. It doesn't do the conspiracy theories very, very much, does it? Because you know what I mean. We've got these in midfield crisis, and no one available. It would be Kobbie's time, and picks up that injury, the calf injury, and it's said to be a short one. But then Matthijs de Ligt, his back injury or whatever it was meant to be a short one as well, and we still haven't seen him for a while at this point. So yeah, it's unfortunate in that regard, but like I said, it won't help the Kobbie conspiracies, will it? Of still exactly out, and that's not very good. Or I don't know, Kobbie. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on there.
He just needs to get back fit and see if he picks him.
But
that's it, really.
But it also doesn't. It also proves, and this is another thing, a criticism of Kobbie Mainoo, hasn't it, as well, that he picks up injuries. He does. Like you've mentioned this before. I know that he's still a young guy, but his seasons he's done at Man United so far have been blighted by injury, haven't they? And even last season, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was, but was out for a few weeks with an injury here or there, and that is a bit of a concern. That is a bit of
He struggled. He's really struggled with it. He started his career injured. His senior career, he started injured.
Yeah.
And he played against Real Madrid, and then that was him until he made his debut in November, and then went on a really good run to the summer. Come back injured early last season. Eric gets sacked. Then he's back fit again. New manager trying to work out where he plays. Then he gets injured. Like he's been stop-start. Same this season. Everything's horrible. Then he gets a chance to actually play injured. He would have been starting all these games. And like you said, the last game he played at Bournemouth, he actually played well when he came off the bench.
Yeah.
So not easy. It was interesting to see some of Amram's quotes about the system. You know, and some. Here's what I've taken from it, because you see certain people's commentary on it and how some people view it.
Do you think it's a bit much? Do you think it's a bit too?
People are. Yeah, I think so. I think what my breakdown of it. Now I'm just kind of looking at both sides and really thinking, right, where am I actually at with this thing? So I can just kind of put it to bed and move on. Obviously, he said the Pope thing. But I shout out James. I saw, because obviously James is in the camp of like, he's always been calm. It's fine. This was always, and James puts up like the full context of like, even during that Pope thing, what he actually said. And he has got a point, because he basically says, in the Reuben way, he's like, no. Listen, not even the Pope will make me change right now in this moment. Like, here's how it's going to be. I'm going to work on this thing, and it will change. It will change. We will evolve. We will become a better team, and I will change things. But if I change it now, those guys in that dressing room, they're just going to be like, mate, we're shit now, and you're just buckling into the pressure. And I'm telling you now, if I'm trying to get their trust, if I'm trying to get them to know what I need them to do, I need to work on this. He doesn't tell us what those things are.
Later.
I need to change later, right?
Yeah.
I need to change later. And the immediate pushback to that, as a regular fan like myself, who was saying change from this time last year, is, he's talking about, hopefully I have time to do this. And, any good manager, I'm sorry, I still stand by it. Any good manager walks straight in, looks at what's around and goes, right, with this, I can't do this, this, and this. I'm going to have to do this. Yeah. That's what you do. That's just what you do in any business. You don't look at Ineos.
Football thing.
Ineos walked straight in, and they didn't. I know we might not agree with all the cuts and all that, but they didn't go, don't want to look like changing too much. I'm going to make those cuts in a year. Well, in a year, it's worse or this, that, and the other. You have to do it now. Like I don't believe we had to suffer as much as we suffered. To change.
Yeah, that's what I've mentioned before. The immediate pushback is you don't have the stomach for a rebuild or whatever. Yeah. I've always said, for me, a rebuild doesn't have to mean you finish 50th. You don't have to. You know what I mean? You don't have to. And I do get, I really do get the other side of the argument of, well, you've got to implement things, and it wasn't necessarily about the system. I do think too much is made of it. You look at every other team in the Premier League, the big teams, the middle teams, small teams, like the chat about formation, or shape, you'd never hear it as much of any other team, do you? It's just part of football. Whereas us, maybe because it is such a staple of Ruben Amorim, this back three, wing backs, and because of it wasn't working, or it hasn't been working for a year. So like you say, the logical reaction to that is, okay, something's not working, I'll try something else. Because he hasn't done that, it's made the focus even greater on it. And now, like you say, he has changed, tweaked things, because that was the other part of it as well of I remember when Flex did the video about tweaking or changing things, and the reaction, the negative reaction or the pushback of how dare you suggest that he has changed or this, that, and the other. This probably made it bigger too, but I'll be honest, I've said this quite a bit recently as well. I don't really care that much. When the whole thing about system, formation, or shape comes up now, I'm going to be honest, folks. I do kind of roll my eyes a bit and go, okay, like I'm at that point where it is, maybe it is the emotional detachment. Maybe it is just whatever you do. Whatever shape it is, whatever formation it is, if it's picking up wins, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm fine, no problem. We're 6th in the league, whatever shape that is, 3-4-3, 4-2-3-1, or whatever. If it's picking up wins, cool, no problem, fine. I mean, I do think he has made it difficult for himself with some of the things he has said, and maybe talking in absolutes at certain points, because inevitably when you speak in absolutes, you're going to have to go back on them and you're going to have to contradict yourself at some point. But someone put the super chat in during the match for you at the weekend on Boxing Day, and they were like, oh, if he changes, does that make him a hypocrite? And I was like, I don't care. He can be the biggest hypocrite in the world. As long as he's winning games, yeah, that's my hypocrite. I don't care otherwise. So yeah, I do think this is the other part of Ruben, isn't it? Ruben's a bit of a strange, you realize after over a year now of him being here, that he is a bit of a strange man in the sense of, look, like he said, he has to do all of these interviews, and because he's had to do so many interviews and he said so many different things, I think he's kind of realizing that everything he says, of course, it's going to be picked up. So inevitably, when you contradict yourself, people don't have short memories. They remember stuff that you said in the past. They remember things when you spoke in absolute, saying you weren't going to change this or you would change this or blah, blah, blah. So inevitably, when you say the opposite of that, people will pick up. Happens to us doing this. So just imagine what happens with the Manchester United manager. Fucking hell. We can say, come on a show like this, Flex, and say one thing, and then 6 months later, we might say something the opposite. We get called flip-flops, let alone Ruben, who's inevitably going to say something, the opposite with the amount of interviews that he does. So honestly, at this point, back 5, back 4, whatever. I roll my eyes at it a bit and just go, it's fine. As long as he wins. I mean, I don't think it helps that he does, like I said, that he was so steadfast in sort of the,
not changing.
Won't do this, I won't do that, and then he has tweaked and changed some things.
It's just. But
you get, and this is what there are things that made it worse, right? One, like I said, was him talking in absolutes at the start, because inevitably, when you talk in absolutes and you have to contradict them, it makes things worse. So the thing that made it worse as well, obviously, was not getting the results. When you're not getting the results, that heightens.
That's the biggest thing out of everything.
Yeah. Another thing that made it worse is this here from the kid, which is, when you did try and have a conversation about if he had changed, had he tweaked things, maybe like 6 months ago or whatever, the desperation for Ruben Amorim to work out at Manchester United in some fans' minds made the sort of response to sort of discussing change so vicious, so vicious that it did sort of make people get like, go, no, actually, want to talk about it even more. I always use the example of that video, Flex, you did after, I forget which game it was. When it was Ruben as adapted, which, by the way, Ruben Amorim is on record saying, I tweak things, I change things. He even goes like, oh, we did it in the Liverpool game. We went direct because, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, we can't pass or keep the ball. So we decided to go long and started going to the players that we have got. And so we changed that. I remember Flex doing the video for it, and you can go to it now. The comments are fucking brutal.
You just don't want to admit you fucking you didn't even want to admit that thing, and you're just trying to save face and rare.
Occasionally, I'll go back and look at them, because like when you can go back. It's like a time capsule. You can go back and see something in that state of time and just see how it has aged. And I'm telling you, those comments have aged so horrifically. Because, and again, they're vicious. They are vicious. Like, this should just be an apology video.
Apology video. Just say sorry, Flex. Just say sorry. Now he's doing it right now, and he hasn't changed a thing. So you were wrong the whole time.
Yeah, or this should just admit that you were wrong, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, first of all, he's on the record of saying he has changed. Now he is adapting and changing or whatever. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you can learn anything from this scenario, it should be that when you do point out things that are happening, you can't just ignore them and go, they're not happening, head in the sand. Nope, they're not happening. When you go, well, they are. And he says that they are. And now he is tweaking and changing things. Look, it's working. Going up the table. Good. And it's not even about, I told you so. It's just about, like, be willing to have the conversation. It doesn't have to be that, like, fuck you, basically. If you don't want to support Man United, get out, kind of thing. It's like, well, that's not even a question.
Well, and even like I said, going through Ruben's quotes and seeing some of the comments underneath it, because he's basically saying about changing his system. It's not because of pressure from you guys or the fans. It's because now we understand the way we want to play, and the principles are the same. We can change the system, and I think we are going to become a better team because when all the players return, we are not going to play all the time with 3 defenders. We are going to improve. But when you talk previously about changing the system all the time, I cannot change because the players will understand that I am changing because of you. I think that is the end of a manager. So it gives you, again, you can push back to certain bits and I go, listen, you can say all that. And it's basically a power struggle, right? He's wrestling for power and control and influence over the players and doesn't want that undermined. I didn't really like the comments where he suggested that the players are playing shit because of the media, because it's because you guys keep getting in their heads. And, so he's learned a lot of things. One thing that is going under the carpet here because of the agenda against Ruben, right? Of the people who just don't like him, don't want him to be there, want him to leave, is they're focusing on just like one bit of what he said. He has also said many times of late, I've learned a lot, mate. I would have done 70% of things different in this first year. Like, that means a lot. Like, when he done that Sky interview, and I was like, flipping it, he's really opened up about basically the mistakes he's made, how he's had to adjust, the things he's realized by actually getting here. And as much as that's been at the detriment of the club, it's been at the detriment of the fans because we've had to lose all those games, finish 15th, mess up the Europa League, unforgivable things, right? In football terms. But even me, and again, you guys know where I'm at. You've seen where I was at from Grimsby, and I've never really had that sliding doors moment of, you know what, he is the right guy. I'm still in that thing of like, prove it to me, because I'm still not sure on you. Prove it to me, right? But I'm not that guy who's going to try and bang the drum every single game, win, lose, or draw. That's just not how I am. But I'm also not the guy who's not going to listen to somebody truly when they speak, of like admitting their flaws, admitting that they've made mistakes, admitting that I'm not the person that I kind of was. And I know it sounds quite dramatic, like this is in football terms, but he's told us this. If you can put your bias aside for 2 minutes, you can go, this is a guy who actually really does care. This is a guy who is really probably unhealthily infatuated with succeeding, that you're doing things wrong in the start. Stuff that we can all help you with if you just tweak this or change this. Stuff that he's had to learn the extreme hard way, and probably thank his lucky stars that he's still in the job. He's still in the job, And some of that, don't get me wrong, is mate, I ain't buying it. You're fraud. It's shit manager, mate. I don't care. You can do all that sentimental stuff, Flex. He ain't good enough. And that's fine if that's how you see it. But me personally, I do believe in the redemption. I do believe in the forgiveness. I do believe in turning things around. And that is slightly contradictory to me crashing out against Grimsby saying, just get him gone. And that bit I have learned, because now I'm like, game by game, let me see if he can turn this around. But I'll be honest, he is saying things, if you listen hard enough and put your biases aside, he is saying things, some things that make sense. Hence, when I said about the youth, to me, that made perfect sense. Saying that about them kids and that makes sense. Just because we finished 15th last year and lost to Spurs, that doesn't mean that what he's saying there isn't true. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that he is slowly and surely starting to do and say things a little bit better. But the ultimate thing, like you always say, Owen, is that we just don't lose every game anymore. And that counts for more. It counts for more. It counts for more.
I defended Ruben the other day. A super chat came in and it's like, Ruben, Eric Ten Hag brought through youth players. Ruben doesn't do that. And I was like, well, that's bullshit. Like, like you can, what's the phrase I've said before? You can criticize Ruben Amorim for a lot of things, yeah, but winning can't be one of them. So like this thing about him, he doesn't like youth. He never plays the youth. Well, what's he doing at the moment? It's like Eric Ten Hag. He brought through loads of youth players, and you go, well, actually, he brought through Kobbie and brought through Garnacho, but sometimes it isn't like just a managerial thing. It's just your right place, right time. You come in, you're there at a time when these players are coming through. You bring them in. Ruben Amorim, he's given debuts to quite a few youngsters already, hasn't he? Why? Yeah. Because he's got players missing. Usually that's how it happens with a lot of youth players coming through. You've got gaps, you've got absences, and you go, right, I'm running out of numbers. I'll bring this player through, or I'll put this player on the bench. Someone gets injured and you bring him on. You see what happens. So you know, that's when you're right. I do think there is this element of, because people are, you know, don't like him or don't think it's going to work out. I'm still of the like, I really don't know if this is going to work out with Ruben Amorim. I'm not sure. My mind was kind of swayed on that a while ago. But just myself, I'm not going out of my way to find things not to like about him. You know what I mean? Or I can't give him credit for certain things as well. Like, for instance, when those youngsters posted that thing or online, I defended him against that because there's a hierarchy of things. Regardless of if you think he's right, wrong, he's good, bad, or whatever, you have to respect that he's the Manchester United head coach. He's in charge.
But some people don't respect it because he's a loser and he's the worst ever. They don't respect him. And that gives a green light to kids who ain't done nothing to also disrespect him because he disrespected, because he said something like that.
I was just looking at some of these comments, by the way, Flex, from that video, the Ruben change video.
Yeah, go on. What we got?
They're worse than I remember.
Bring them up, Owen. Show the people, Owen. This is the time of reflection. Like I say, and I'm a man of forgiveness, so I don't hold it against any of these people who tried to hound me out of making content. Because I sat there for days after that contemplating, should I do this anymore? I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, there was one, and I remembered this. We did a full view right after, and the title was like, debate: has Amorim changed his tactics? Was the thing.
So I was asking a question.
Right. You weren't even on this full view, Flex, yeah? You weren't even
the full view. Right, okay.
Yeah, right. And the top one says here, has Flex manufactured this whole debate just to avoid apologizing?
Wow.
The debate about changing tactics was one that you made up. No one else was talking about it in the
I look at even the person below, to be fair. Big up to them. He's adapted, though. Yeah.
Is it that it's a ploy by Owen and Flex to avoid accountability? As we said, discussion literally everywhere right now. No, you know, it's it was very much you made this. You made this up, Flex. You made this. You made.
And I wasn't even on
it. Weren't even on it. This is the one. This is the one though that is particularly quite brutal. Was this? It was Amorim has changed. It was a picture of him in the little thing.
Yeah.
Where should we go by? It was just simply say, oh, it's starting to click. I'm not sold yet. It needs to do more. But appear like, yeah, I was right. Amorim, listen to me. The state of these guys, the gaslighting tour. You've been demanding for Amorim to adapt for months. He hasn't. Now we are winning. You're shamelessly putting it down to him adapting. Where else do we go? Is this sort by most relevant? Yeah, top comments. Let's go to the top comments. So this is when you see, like, you know, it should be hands up, I was wrong video. Flex is fake and useless. You mean we're finally adapting to Ruben? The man's literally said he won't change. He won't change. He literally said it. Amorim has not changed. It's easy for people to say he's changed because they want him gone or they thought his formational system wasn't working. By the way, Amorim's been going along. We just never had the personnel to execute it well. And now we'll kick it in the wrong direction. No, it's insane. Flex, you're struggling to figure out how to explain the results after all your rants and Amorim out campaigns.
See what I'm saying? Just stuff I didn't do.
Yeah. Not much has changed. It's just more togetherness and a better goalkeeper. What else have we got here? Flex, this video is so unnecessary. If you don't feel the need for an apology video, fair play. But doubling down is not it. We watch football too. And many of us followed Amorim since he was at Sporting. Oh, of course you did. I recommend you watch the Sporting games before you decide to kind of should continue. Maybe watch the Brighton game as well. What else have we got here? Good to see people in the comments not buying Flex's BS. Ran a shameful campaign. You ran your campaign to get Ruben Amorim out. Now he wants to jump on the bandwagon without acknowledging he was wrong. I can accept that from KG because his persona is that of a clown.
But Flex pretends to be a more serious analyst.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Flex. You just got to accept you're wrong, pal. This is embarrassing. Yeah.
This is 2 months ago.
I went back and watched all the games we played this season. I can tell you Amorim hasn't changed anything at all. The players just understand the system better and finally finding the back of the net. It's pathetic how people like Flex really think they know football better than most Premier League managers. You should be a Premier League manager, Flex, with what you're saying. If you come on YouTube and talk football, you have to know more than a Premier League manager. It's how it works. What else? I mean, it goes on. There's like 400 of these. It's brutal. Honestly, it's brutal. Let's be honest. You're trying way too much now. Amorim hasn't changed. Some of us will still be happy with third centre backs. What has he changed? He's nothing. He's not changed anything. Some people will never learn. Amorim's not changed. It's incredible. It's honestly, it is incredible. And that goes back to my point of why I think that so much is made of the system is because when in the past, when it has tried to be made a discussion point, it turns into like, fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. Nothing has changed. And the irony of accusing like you of gaslighting when that's exactly what is being done to you there. You know, you're going like, I see adaptation, I see change. These things are different. These things are changed. And it is like the Jedi mind trick. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed in that regard. And you go, well, I see it. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. And then Ruben Amorim says it. And again, it's working. Get more points on the board. We're better off than we were last season. And also, we're not doing the same of what we did last season. You know, I saw a comparison side by side of us in the Prem table versus on Christmas Day last season versus Christmas Day this season, and we were better off. And that's because again we've things have been tweaked and changed, and that's fine.
It's fine.
It's okay. It's not even like, oh, I was right or wrong. It's just
what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah, it's what it is. So I don't know. And that's the reaction. That is the reaction straight away of when you go, well, this was to see what's happened. Then the defensive reaction is, Michael, unfortunately. So it's I told you so. You know, it's an I told you so.
We're just talking about what's happened. That's it. And if you basically, we want to know your opinion on what's, instead of saying like, so this is that, what's your opinion on what we're saying? What's your opinion?
Because I've been there. I've again, talk about learning a lesson. I've been there. Yeah. When with the Erik ten Hag stuff, when he got a new contract after the FA Cup final. Yeah. And everyone, I remember we were like it, right? We won. To all of you Ten Hag naysayers, we won. Told you he's sticking around. Screw you. We won. Then when he got sacked a few months later, and the detractors for Erik ten Hag were going, see, I said this wasn't going to work out. We shouldn't have given him a new contract after the final, blah, blah, blah. Same group of people, myself included, threw our hands up and went, this isn't the time for that. It's not the time for doing the point scoring thing. And I remember it was on an episode of The Trinity. I went, actually, you know what? It is. It is. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're going to sit and celebrate and say, like, we won, we were right, then you're going to kind of have to get the flack when it doesn't work out, aren't you? You know what I mean? You're gonna have to. So in the same way, if you're going to be really staunchly, Ruben Amorim hasn't changed, he's not doing anything, he's not changed anything, blah, blah, blah. When he does come out and say, look, I'm adapting things, I'm changing things, go to a back four, going direct, blah, 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 you can't then throw your hands up and be like, what? So it's going to be I told you so now. Well, the same people were doing I told you so a couple of months ago. You were literally doing that a couple of months ago.
It weren't even right.
Something wasn't even that. So, yeah, you know, you kind of got to, take the rough with the smooth, don't you? You know, it's how it goes.
It's that simple. You can't, have your cake and eat it, as they say.
Yeah.
If you want to give it out to people as much as that, again, look, if you want to be that, then people to be that vocal and say stuff like that, and then think people don't have a right to apply to say, hold on a minute, you're not all slaughtering me for saying this. Now this thing is this. You know what? Yes, it is, and I told you so. And
then the policing of, but Flex, no, you can't say that. You can't say
exactly. That Get out of here, man. You know what? I'll go back to that. Yes, it is. Yes, this is that, Michael. That's exactly what this is. I told you. No, because sometimes there are the odd time where it's warranted. You go, I'm not doing it because like
you're supposed to take shit. You're supposed to take shit, and then when you get proven to be right, you're then told, don't. You're not allowed.
It's exactly what it is.
How bizarre is that? It's so odd. It just, and again, I think that just comes from the defensiveness of being like, oh, maybe I went a bit too far when I was sort of cussing him out, by saying those things to you. And then it's like you highlight it, and it goes, "Let's move on. We should stop. Let's not dig up old wounds."
Stupid. Ray says, "For me, I want to see performances. How much you win by, I don't care. If we play great and we win 1-0, all good for me. Yeah, that's it. Nem Green says, Wagwan boys, thank you for another year of UV greatness. Happily,
Wagwan.
Yeah, no, not wag.
Wagwan.
No, wah.
Nem Green.
Wah. Not wag.
What? Wagwan.
No, wah. Not wag. Wah.
Wagwan, mate. Wah.
Wagwan, not wag. What? Not
Wagwan.
No, you don't have to. No. There's no need to stretch out the pronunciation like that. You don't.
Whoa. What's going on? You're from different region.
No.
You're in a different region. In my region.
No one says it like that, bro.
In my region, they do. In my region, they do.
Yeah, the region of bloody north of England.
They're in my region of Jamaica. It's just kind of east of Kingston.
In your parish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you work on that and let them know that's not how you say it.
I don't have to work on it. It's how we talk. It's how we talk in my region.
Nem, look what you've done, bro. Look at this. Look what you just, you know what I mean? But he says, thank you for another year. Greatness. Hopefully we finish at least 5th. Ruben Alvarin will win me over. If you get that, the recent changes is a breath of fresh air. I hear you, bro. I hear you.
We don't talk patois. We talk fatwa. That's what we do.
Right. Okay. Yeah, he's gone. He's just been very silly at the moment, isn't he? I think it's game day. He's very excited. He just wants it to be the match now. Like he's just being silly, ain't he? Really? Because that's what you
with a PH.
Right. Okay. Just give him a chance, but you know he just can't. Yeah. Are you ready? Yes, because we have to be accountable here, actually, to be fair. Yes. Great Tone says, to play devil's advocate, I like a devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. After the Everton loss, I swear you guys were ranting that nothing has changed. Maybe it was just emotions. No, I was at the game. I was going mad. I can't lie about that. Did I say it in my match review afterwards? I probably did say that. So, again, was it just emotions? Maybe it's just emotions. Absolutely. Because I was
crashing out.
I was so angry after that game, and I spent the game sitting next to Bradley, and that does a lot of stuff to you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He will infect you.
I can imagine.
Not blaming Bradley for my own actions, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, deflection. But do you know what? Yeah,
but you're right.
I know for a fact, emotionally, I've been a lot more stable since the last Wolves game. After that one, after that one, that was my moment of, right, you know what? I'm just going to see how the season goes. I'll have my moments, but that's because after that one, that's when I was doing the whole against Bournemouth, come on, we can come back, and we'll get back into it, all that kind of stuff. That was ironically enough, that was a bit of a turning point for me, that Wolves one. I was like, right, I'm just going to go with the flow this season. But then, let's be honest, if we did lose tonight, that probably would happen. That would be bad.
Terence, big up to you, says, happy holidays, boys. Right now, the biggest fear in the league is who is going to be the first team to lose to Wolves. Just win and condemn them further. Yeah, it's kind of like you want to just get those 2 games out of the way and go, well, it won't be us. It won't be us, because will they win a game? Maybe they will. But yeah, I just think if we play to the same level that we've been playing at, actually, which is for large parts against Villa, first half against Newcastle United, would be all right. Even with the teams that we have. But, there's always a tendency, you can drop to the opponent's level. They're sitting back. There's more space. You've got more time to think. So you ironically slow down your play because you've got more time to think. You don't move the ball as quick. Then the crowd can get a little bit restless. It's half time. It's 0-0. 65th minute, 70th minute, it's 0-0. You haven't got much of then it gets it. Then you start forcing things. You're like, shit, we can't get a 0-0 draw at home against Leeds. We have to score. Then you start making mistakes. So, cliches, yes, but you need that early goal, but you need that intensity from the start. You need to start like a house on fire. Start putting them under pressure, doing the right things. Don't let Wolves feel like, all right, we're in this now. We've settled down. No, you can't do that.
Yeah, I do think, like we were sort of saying earlier on, I do think if you look at those last 3 away games that Wolves have had, 1-0 against Villa, 2-1 against Arsenal, 2-1 against Liverpool. This is going to lead to standards are so on the floor right now. But I reckon it'll be a tight game. I reckon it might be like it might be a 1-0 or it might be a 2-1 kind of game. And I know obviously then that will generate once again some sort of negative discussion of look at this bottom of the league and we're sort of struggling past them. But actually, some of the good teams have struggled past them when they've when Wolves have gone to an away stadium. So I think it is just literally just about getting a result tonight. Just get the result and don't maybe dwell too much on the scoreline if it's quite short or anything like that, because it's probably going to be a quite tight game. I don't expect it to be a good game, really. No, I think it'll probably be quite a bit of a rough watch.
Yeah.
But
hopefully we're afterwards. There's people again saying, Flex, you said this was going to be a tight game. You said that it was going to look. It's 3-0, mate. Just happened against Wolves when we won 4-1. They were like, you said they were actually good. You said that I go, yeah, well, I did say that. And also, we forget that game was 1-1 at halftime, and we were like, I swear to God, if these that haven't even scored in 8 hours play Man United, they score. So let's just remember who we are, remember what we are, and go from there. Guys, right, like we said, it is match day. We will see you later on for all of your match day content, all of the build-up and analysis into tonight's game. Myself, DJ, and Owen will be with you guys later on this evening. And hopefully it's a routine win. Last one of the year. End the year on a high.
It's a was it 8:15 kickoff? So I'll be live at 6:15.
Extra 15 minutes.
I know. What's it on? Was it on?
I think it's on Sky because the other game's on at the same time. Villa Arsenal.
Yes, because usually last few years Amazon have had them, but they don't have them anymore, do they? The Premier League one, Sky got them, so it'll be on Sky.
That's annoying. I wanted to watch that Villa Arsenal game, but listen, needs must. We've got to watch our own teams first. There you go. All right, guys.
Maybe in the way that we watch them, maybe you will be able to watch both.
True, actually, we will do that. But but they won't know. We'll see you then, guys. Have a blessed day, and see you for match day build up later on this evening.